Welcome, I'm Catherine Respess, and thank you for taking the time to watch my longlining video. Here I'm working with Victor ISF, who I introduced to longlining about a week ago, April 2014. And I feel like he's probably done it before. He caught on to the basics very quickly, didn't mind the lines on his rump or anything like that. I have also found that it's been working wonders for his confidence. Victor had some misunderstandings about the connection and as well as his momentum. And this has been a wonderful opportunity for him to learn how to better balance himself by himself without the rider. Victor here is offering a nice normal frame, and I'm not terribly concerned about where he wants to be, as long as he's feeling balanced. That's really our objective, along with establishing a more authentic connection to the bit. He has a tendency to shirk the connection and suck back, and so really just keeping that even, steady feel through the bit is what my focus is here. Whether he's counterbent or too deep or too open is not really that much of a concern at this stage. That corner is a pretty good example of what Victor typically does, especially in corners. He doesn't like to go very deep in them, and so he often bulges away from the corner. However, I was counterbending him there in order to maintain that steady connection. Victor starts his trot work in a more open frame, which I just love because we've really had a problem with him curling over the bit and not doing much with his hind legs. He kind of has had them parked out pretty far and really does not have an overreaching stride, which is surprising because he has a pretty capable hind end. Here with this more open frame, he has that ability to begin to swing his haunches more, so we can look forward to more reaching hind legs in the future, I believe. There, Victor missed his cue for the turn. I gave it pretty early on in the other circle, but that's okay. He's learning. We'll get it. I'm already starting to see a more reaching hind leg with this more open frame. I love it. So he didn't canter for very long, but this is a triumph. It was often very difficult to get Victor to stop cantering. It seemed like he would enter a panic mode almost and didn't know how to turn it off, couldn't find his own button. So that to me looked like a very confident trot, canter, trot transition, and I'm very pleased with that development. He gave me a very nice quick transition for that first canter, and then he broke, and I do want him to pay a little bit more attention to me about how long he canters for, but I am pleased that he offers the trot now, so that's a triumph, but just had to ask him again so that he pays a little more attention to that transition aid. This upcoming quarter is a quadrant that Victor typically tries to use to fall out and maybe escape the exercise a little. So here you can see I'm driving him to a little bit more confining rein, but a very even rein, asking him to move evenly into the reins. Here again, he's making an attempt to kind of peel back the other way, but it sets me up perfectly for a nose-to-the-wall leg yield. Leg yields are another one of Victor's weaknesses. He just has a little bit of trouble understanding how to reach with his outside hind legs. So this is a good opportunity to loosen those hips, get a little bit of lateral reps in. Here he's made his decision. I don't really want to do the leg yield. Falling out was not such a good idea, and he heads right back on the path that I was hoping for to begin with. Very proud of him. This, however, also set us up for an opportunity for a leg yield in the opposite direction, and just to be even and continue to invite his left hind to step a little more, step a little more. He just doesn't want to get it out there, but this is a chance just to try to ask him to, yeah, there was a better reach, good. And the moment he got it, now he can go back to the normal work again. Now that Victor's warmed up, we're going to start working on more specific issues that we have, namely his attentiveness to a half halt. So the first step of that is to get him to do a full halt, and I am openly rewarding him with sugar. He hasn't really quite loosened his jaw, and we've been trying to figure out the best way to get him to salivate more. On that note, I'd like to mention that I'm also working Victor in a very fat Hermspringer KK bit, and his noseband is so loose I'm tempted to just take it off. I do acknowledge that feeding a horse sugar is a bit of a trick. However, it has lots of benefits in the long run, particularly more attentiveness to me, regardless of where I am, whether I'm in the saddle or on the ground. I want him to be very much in tune with me, and he is food driven, so I have that ability here. But even more so than, it being a trick to get him to stop, he actually is doing the work still. So at this phase in the training, it's important to reward him and encourage him. So lots of sugar will be forthcoming in this. Here, Victor's doing a great job making that left turn much more correctly, and there he steps into that outside rein beautifully through that change of direction, and then just hangs that neck out there. I'm very happy with how he's starting to look at this point in the exercise, and you'll even see a little froth there. Yay! I loosen the reins, tell him thank you, I love that halt that he gave me, and we go right back, do it again. And there he goes, trying to fall out again, that outside. I keep my reins pretty steady and really just drive him forward. We've got an interesting perspective on this downward transition here. You can see how he steps that right hind out as he comes to the halt, and that's just a matter of absorbing the motion. He's not quite coordinated or strengthened to collect himself and be more seated through the down transition, so he kind of stepped out there, but that's just noted so that we can watch his progression in those transitions. I'm very pleased with the promptness that he came down to the halt. That time he didn't get sugar. He did it very well, but I'm trying to use some verbal praise here instead of the sugar. It's not ideal that he picked up the wrong lead and then swapped in the front. However, I'm still going to praise his effort in the promptness of the transitions. You know, we got a really good up and a really good down, regardless of whatever lead he picked up. The circle really will fix lead problems because he'll realize, oh, this isn't ideal. I'm not as balanced, and want to fix it himself. Here I'm driving him a little bit more strongly because he's not taking that outside rein. You can actually see him attempting to gather that outside rein, and he was just sort of falling in on the circle. So I drove him a bit more in order to have him reach up into that rein. We get it for moments, and I can work with that. Victor and I have been schooling our transitions all week long on the long lines. However, this is the first day that I asked him for walk-halt transitions. I'm very pleased with his progress, and I want to see if he can take just a little bit more pressure. He's super relaxed, seems very confident in his up and down transitions, so just asking for a little bit more promptness. I want the transitions a little sooner. Victor can offer a delayed response to the aids sometimes, so I'm always hoping to improve his attention span as well as his promptness to the aids. You can also think of these transitions as reps in the gym. You know, he is working to use his haunches in a different way now. He's more open and more seated. He used to be kind of pinched and interfered very frequently behind. I've hardly heard his boots scrape in this session. Very happy about that. Victor's getting a lot of verbal praise here, and one reason is to keep his attention on me, to keep his ear on me, but I want one more transition out of him, so I let him walk through that last down transition because I wanted that one more up transition, and I'm super pleased with his reactiveness there. I even see his mouth dripping. Very happy about that. We're in the last few minutes of the session here, and I'm working to get Victor set up for a little bit more lateral work. Here we're off the rail by a few feet, and I'm simply just going to ask him to leg yield towards the rail. I have him set up and shoulder in here to establish that contact with the outside rein, and now I'm inviting him over to it. He says, bend to the outside? Nope, that's not quite right, but there he moves into it very nicely. We're getting our understanding here. This direction is trickier for Victor because it is his left hind leg that he has a hard time reaching out with, and he also doesn't take a very good authentic feel of the outside rein, the left rein on this direction. So we do a little bit of the hula dance. I need the whip to help, so we'll head over to get that shortly. Now I'm just getting myself organized, kind of giving him some cues there to step away from the whip. He's got his ear on me. He's paying attention now. He gives me such a confident feel. I feel like I can always be very close to him with the long lines, and I don't have anything to worry about. Victor needs a little bit of help figuring out the leg yield to the left. We're not quite there yet, but we're working up to it. He's happy to offer the right leg yield. Perhaps that's what you wanted, but it's not. And so we've got to try to get him going back the other direction. What a good boy. So now I've just got to get his haunches off the rail a little bit more, and I can tell he's not quite getting it. So I'm going to position him and just, get him to the right place and then ask for the leg yield. I'm running out of sugar though, so I gotta split this one in half. I want Victor to feel comfortable, even though he's making mistakes and we're not quite getting it. I really like this relaxed horse that I'm seeing here, so I just take my time, organize my reins, make sure I'm ready, so we can get it done quickly. And there it was, that nice reaching left hind leg, and that is good for me for the day. I'm very pleased with that. Thanks for watching. I hope you have questions. Look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.